just in Edinburgh. I think it will be his first match sort of in full charge.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really change too much for us, and I don't think it'll change too much for them. Perhaps in the long term, but certainly not in the short term. They had a really good victory against Sheffield United, and in fact they've been on a decent run. So I don't think much will change in terms of the personnel or how they've gone about the business.
Yeah, and of course you know from earlier in the season, maybe a touch unlucky really to come away without anything from Gillingham, but we saw what kind of side they are.
Yeah, they've changed a little bit since then, and they've changed the formation. They've brought in different players. So listen, it's like any other game in the league. It'll be tough, especially on the back of a good win against a team chasing the playoffs in Sheffield United, who are a tough nut to crack. So they scored 2 late goals in that game. It did look like it was going to be a 0-0, but a mistake by goalkeeper and McGlashan's got in. But I feel they've got strikers that are a handful. McDonald, I think, is a very, very good player at this level, and with Marquez coming in on loan, I think they can be a real handful for them.
Yeah, that makes a difference, doesn't it? Even if perhaps you are struggling a little bit, if you've got players, if you've got the capability to get goals.
Yeah, I mean, McDonald's a good box player. He's always scored goals, and I like him, and he's a threat. But the players will be fully aware of them as we're prepared as normal. There was some good things that we got out of the game Saturday, some things we need to improve on. I think we've got to be a little bit more aggressive on the ball in the formation we play, and that's something we've worked on today.
Yeah, and it's a nice little opportunity, isn't it, the next couple of games, because I know it's a bit of a football cliche, but you're turning the corner. If you can go through the next 2 unbeaten, it starts to look like a really good run.
Yeah, and this is a cliche. It is one game at a time. I'm not thinking ahead of any targets or anything else. It's a case of trying to continue building the players' confidence. The performances haven't been. There've been a lot of things that we need to improve on, but the results are the main thing at the moment. And tomorrow night's another example of that. You just try and get 3 points and keep getting points on the table.
Yeah, because it is a big difference to suddenly start getting the results, because you were doing a lot of things right in previous games, and for whatever reason not coming away with anything. To actually get the results on the board by hook or by crook, however you managed to do it, that's a step forward.
I think it is. I think you're absolutely right. I think even on Saturday, we were under a bit of caution when they equalised, and I know Proctor missed a good chance, but perhaps before, with the run we were on, we probably would have lost that game, and again we should have definitely got something out of it. But we've spoke about 1 or 2 things in the areas of the pitch and certain things about the formation where we need to be better. But that's the same as every other game, whether you win, lose or draw it. So today was a normal day. We debriefed on the game Saturday, and yesterday the lads were in as well. So we'll be ready for tomorrow night. We've got 2 home games coming up now. A change of manager for them, I don't think makes a big difference to us. Whether it makes a difference to them, we'll wait and see.
Did we see at the weekend the difference the confidence makes, that when it got a bit tougher against Fleetwood, that the players were able to dig in because you got the previous 2 results?
Perhaps, and I think we've shown great examples of that in the last 3 games. Notts County we had to dig in, Yeovil at times we had to dig in. And you know what, with it, and I don't want to keep going on about it, but obviously the pitch will play its part, and may have to adapt our game a little bit, and we've got to play with common sense. So all those things will be spoken about with the players, but ultimately it's up to them, and what they're showing me at the moment is a good determination to turn things around, and hopefully that continues.
In terms of with the pitch, I know it's hard to pick advantages from it really, given how it is, but you had the 90 minutes against Yeovil. Will the dynamics be pretty much the same? Will the players know from that 90 minutes how pretty much it'll be tomorrow?
Yeah, the pitch doesn't offer us any advantages whatsoever. But listen, I'm not going to make it as an excuse. There are a lot of bad pitches out there this year for whatever reason. We just have to go on with it. 2 teams, whatever team with opposition we play, it's 2 teams playing on the same pitch. So we've just got to have a little bit of common sense when we're playing at the top. Is
it too early at this stage for news on Kyle Vassell?
Yes, we will know later on this afternoon, but at the moment I think he's just gone for his scan. He has just gone for his scan, so we'll see how he is. He was a lot better today. I'm a bit more hopeful than I was on Saturday, because I've seen him when he was in a bit of pain, but the swelling's gone down quite rapidly, so hopefully it's not as bad as we thought.
Is there any connection between the injuries that he's had? He's made a big step up from playing in the non-league to playing here. Is it part of his development into becoming a league player? Is it just a process that he's going through?
No, he's just been really unlucky, hell of unlucky. His broken foot was a tackle from a young kid that we were doing a shape work. It was just innocent. And then the other day he's just gone over on the 3G and with no one anywhere near him. So he's been really, really unlucky. But he's a strong lad, Vass, and strong lad mentally, I mean. So he'll be all right. And we just hope it's not as bad as we first thought, because initially we were thinking 6 weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully it's not as bad as that.
Yeah, it'd certainly be good news. In terms of Gabby Zakwani, obviously done at the African Cup of Nations. What's the process for him now? When will he be back?
Apparently Gabby's back tomorrow night. He won't be obviously featuring in the game. We'll have a good look at him. We'll see him tomorrow night if he's at the game, but we'll have a good look at him Wednesday morning. See how he is. I'm sure he'll be fine. He's played. He's had a successful tournament, as his team has, so he'll come back full of confidence. I'm sure he's enjoyed the experience, and we'll take it from there, really.
Yeah, I know he picked up a bit of an ankle problem, but he played on through that, and it's been a bit of a stop-start season for him. Do you think potentially having been out there and played a number of games that can help him kick on here?
I'm glad it's out of the way, because I think it's been a real focus for him, which you could say is understandable. But I think it's really been pivotal in his mind, this tournament, so I'm glad it's gone. And we all know what Gabby can do at this level. I think it's been really up and down, as you said, a season for him. And he's got to find his best form for the remaining games, simple as that.
You mentioned on Thursday that tomorrow would probably come too soon for John Taylor. Is that still the case?
Yeah, absolutely. He's just done a little bit extra there. He's going to get 4 weeks training, as is Ben. Perhaps may play a little part in the development game on Wednesday. We'll just see how they react to the 2 tough sessions they're going to have today and tomorrow. But I'm tempted to give them a little bit of that game. Yeah,
because of course at this moment in time, with the results having gone well the past 3, even less of a reason really to rush in.
Yeah, but I always look at the performances as well, and I have to find a way of fitting John into the system that we're playing at the moment. But we've spoken about that, so Wednesday might be a good opportunity if he can come through the next couple of days, or today and tomorrow, sorry, to try him out in a specific area and role that we'd probably look at playing him in this formation. Yeah,
because he's fitted into this shape before. I think he's played up front as one of the 2, and then he can play in the hole as well.
Yeah, and he can play as a wing back. It depends how aggressive we want our wing backs to be. You know, there's different ways of playing wing backs. You know, and I suppose that it depends on not so much on the opposition, but it depends on certain things and how high you want them to play. And for certain games you could play John as a wing back, but he can play in the hole or he can play up front, as he's shown. So he gives you options.
And I know we've spoken quite a lot about Joe Newell over the past few weeks, but I think worth mentioning again. This season just gets better and better for him. I know it's been a difficult few weeks for the team as a whole, but he really has risen to the challenge and seems to be kicking on.
Yeah, and I'm delighted for him, because it's taken him a bit of time. I've always felt with Joe that he's got all the tools, and he's always had the ability, the kid. He's been a little bit unlucky with certain injuries, but now he knows, and he's in a good place mentally, he's confident. And I think you see that he's clearly been one of our best players this season.
In terms of bringing anyone in, is that now looking like it's going to be beyond Tuesday night?
Well, I mean, I mentioned after the game about bringing a striker in, but now, you know, I can use Taylor there. I can always push Madison up one. So I have got options within the squad. But you've got to get our strikers getting goals and trying for them to get a bit of consistency and getting a bit of a run, really. That would help them greatly. And midfield, I think we need another body in there and possibly another centre half. But seeing that Gabby coming back, so listen, we've got numbers, but I still think we could do with 1 or 2, but we're still working away at it.
Yeah, and Darragh had mentioned on Twitter that maybe having players available for the playoffs may come into the thinking as well. If you were to bring someone in, it would be quite frustrating then if you were to get to the playoffs at this moment in time. If they come in, they wouldn't be able to play in those games.
Yeah, that's true, and that is in our thinking as well. If they come in after the February the 20th, they can play in the playoffs. If they come in before that, they couldn't play in it. So we've got to be positive and take that into consideration, and we are doing so. What we're trying to do is make sure we've got targets and identifying. We have identified targets, doing a little bit of background as we do on them, and then seeing if they're available. And of course, you've then got to do a deal. one or two may not even be attached to clubs, you know. So we're working away as hard as we can, and we just got to make sure it's the right ones.